the place that we almost bought.
I can't hear you.
This place over here, out Everly's window, is the place that we almost bought a few years ago. Can't really see much because I gotta drive, but that was it. It was lots and lots of space. And then some people from our church actually ended up buying this place and created a nice little homestead. This farm vlog is in a little bit of a different format than usually what I publish for you guys. There's no music, no fancy editing, just kind of plain old raw and real farm life. Just listen to the crunch of the snow, watch the animals as the snow falls, and overall I hope you just enjoy the straight up realness of this video as well. This is from November 29th, before my computer crashed, so enjoy the throwback here. Yesterday we got a delivery of a big round straw bale and looks like 4 squares, so I'm gonna have to take those and stack them somewhere out of the snow. We got a lot of snow last night. Oh my goodness. It just doesn't stop. The tractor is currently not working, so that's kind of been a problem. And I will show you why that's been a problem when I go to feed the horses. So I'm gonna have to make a few trips back and forth. It's literally the worst time for the tractor to decide that it didn't want to start. Maybe it'll be charged up and it'll work now, but it's just one of those things where the animals gotta get fed. So if you have to do it by manual labor, you do it by manual labor, and it doesn't matter if it's minus 20 plus 5, it's got to get done. Everybody's cold today. The goats are shivering. A few of the horses are shivering. Like it or not, this is life in rural northern British Columbia. Hey, you guys. You're looking good. Ladybug's not shivering. Jitterbug's not shivering. So that's great. The only one who had some light shivering is Jazzy right here. And it's not really that bad. It's just a little bit of shaking in her flank. She is probably one of the finer haired horses. She doesn't have as thick of hair. And she's also probably the thinnest. But even then, she's not that thin. So I'm going to go rip to the feed shed, the grain shed, and grab some grain just to help get these guys through today. And also because I'm not feeding them quite as much hay as I normally would because I'm pitching it a long way. So I'm spreading out little piles everywhere. We'll grab them some grain. They've also already eaten a bunch of what I've put down, so they're pretty fast carburetors, I will say that. The other thing is that I think that I can get the tractor running because it's been plugged into the battery charger, and so I think we should be able to get it going. So I'm just kind of giving them a pre-breakfast, if you will. Come bring them some grain, cut this off. Yes, it looked like I was being aggressive, but I knew that it was loose. I could feel it underneath, so I knew where I was cutting. I was being very careful. So Grace has an abscess in her hoof, so we've been wrapping it. The trouble with how we're wrapping it is that once it wears off the bottom of her foot, it rises up and it's like an anklet, and it gets all built up with snow and ice in there, and that's not very comfortable. So I think we're gonna give her a rest for a couple days without anything on. She's been walking a lot better, so I'm not as concerned. She's standing on it really well. Stepping on the ice and stuff doesn't seem to bother her, and so we're just going to give her a couple days and then resume treatment after that. Hey, Charlie. Just for kicks, let's just go see if this tractor will start now. Because it's cold and I want the horses to have enough food today. I'm not gonna lie, what goes through my head when I'm feeding is, goodness, I sure hope that we've got enough hay for the winter. For any of you that have been tagging along since the summer, you know that we've had another year of drought, and hay was incredibly hard to find. This fall, we didn't actually get our hay in our yard until middle of October, which we should have had it by August. And stressful wondering, hey, are we gonna be able to feed our animals this winter? I was just talking to a sheep farmer yesterday. They sold 90 sheep because they usually get 1,000 bales a year. They put up hay themselves, and this year they got 300. And so they had to downsize, and then now instead of having 120 sheep, they've got 30. such luck. Nora, get out. Next time I'll try to bring some tubs out so that they don't lose some of it into the snow. Because once they get excited and they're milling around and fighting each other for different piles, they lose where the oats are. The other way. I can't get the gate open. Not through there. Hi. How are you guys? You staying warm? Oh, good girl. Oh, you guys are so cute, sweet. Peaches, hi. Hello. Oh my goodness. What's happening, you guys? Robin, we're going to trim your feet. All right? So Miss Robin here is my newest addition this fall. I bought her bread, and unfortunately she came with very, very neglected feet. And so she has been very sore. I've trimmed her feet twice now, and she's still not all the way better. When you're dealing with severely neglected hooves, Who's eating my hat? Rose? When you're dealing with severely neglected hooves, we're talking months to sometimes over a year to try to get them to come back around. And there's also a chance that she may never be completely sound again. And so that's very, very sad. I didn't know that she was in that condition when I bought her. So I'm just doing my best to get her feeling better with her feet. Easy, girl. So this this front left foot is the worst by far. She's limping quite severely on it. It's quite grown over, and it's curved this way. And so she's in rough shape with this one. I think is by far her most painful foot as she's hobbling around. So I'm just going to try to get her to turn. Hopefully then you can see a little bit of what I'm doing here. You can just see that misshapen foot. I've done my best to clean it up. It almost looked like potentially there's an abscess in there as well. Easy, Robin, easy. It's especially hard with a winter, with the amount of snow that gets clogged up in there. Easy, go. No, you go. I would not be surprised if there's an abscess in here. Maybe I'll try to show you what I'm seeing. So from this side you can see just how much this outer toe is folded over to the point where she's walking on the side of her hoof. You can also see this little bit of pink in there. I'm very, very close to her blood supply, which is concerning because her toe is still very, very long. And so it's so overgrown and misshapen that the blood supply is all wonky. But what I'm seeing right here is a separation, and I think that there could be an abscess in there. I would like to try to trim that out a bit more. Her whole heel, everything is just kind of garbage. Okay, so I actually was able to go down a little bit farther. Robin, hold still. No, hold still. She's so sore. I was able to take it down a bit further. She's not bleeding, but that is definitely some blood there. I took it down a fair bit more. Are you chewing on my jacket? We're still pretty curved, but I don't know. I would like to see what's in there because I bet you anything that she's got some issues. Hi, baby. Yeah, I'm sorry, honey. We're doing our best. Now, unfortunately, there's probably a chance that some people are going to watch this and just be appalled by the fact that the animals are cold. And as much as I hear that, I feel like I'm also running out of tolerance for it all at the same time. I'm all for trying to educate and trying to inform, share realistic life as it happens. But the reality also is that people don't understand this kind of lifestyle. They don't understand what it's like to have it be normal to be minus 20 degrees Celsius. You have to keep in mind that these animals prepare for winter for weeks, and they're developing this thick, fluffy winter coat that is made and designed to keep them warm in temperatures like this. Yes, as soon as we have a little bit of a breeze it's not uncommon that we see some shivering. But when we just have a standing -20 temperature, there's no shivering that happens. They're used to this. The hottest we get in the summertime is maybe plus 30 degrees Celsius. Like, well, I mean, it can get hotter than that, but normally we're at about minus or plus 25. If we get plus 25 for a week, we're like, whoa, we're getting a hot summer. So I just hope that you keep in mind when you watch these videos as we are in our winter season that this is normal. We don't have barns. We don't blanket every animal. We don't bring them in the house. They're used to this. They're accustomed to this, just like I become climatized to winter as well. And sometimes it takes a little bit to get used to it. And we keep a close eye on them. We act when necessary. We have shelters for them. Is the biggest thing is a way for them to get out of the wind to reduce that chill. And so I hope that all of this makes sense to you. The animals, we truly love and care for them. Just because we choose not to blanket horses or put fluffy jackets on goats does not mean that we don't care for them. We do, and we're doing the best that we can with what we have, while also admitting that there is room for improvement all at the same time. So when I went to start the tractor this morning, I didn't realize that the battery charger was using the plug-in, and so the battery was charged, but the tractor was too cold to start because it was not plugged into the block heater that enables the tractor to be able to start in cold temperatures like it is right now. So I just switched it over. It's gonna need to sit on the block heater for probably an hour or two. So I'm gonna go hand bomb some more hay for the horses because I got nothing better to do with my time. Well, this has unintentionally ended up being a 3-feed kind of day, where basically I'm just doing 3 smaller meals instead of 2 bigger ones, because it's a lot of work trekking back and forth. And hopefully by this evening the tractor will be up and running and we can drop a bale right here, so I'm not having to pack it hundreds of yards back and forth. It's cold. I know I make it look like it's not cold, but it is cold. I don't even know. I haven't even bothered to check. I just kind of dress warm and get stuff done. And I know that you guys haven't seen me do a ton of extra stuff, and that's because when it's cold like this, honestly, I kind of try to do the bare minimum. And that may sound terribly lazy to some people, to anybody else who's lived in a northern climate or somewhere where it gets really cold for long periods of time, you probably also understand. So this weekend, the rest of the goats are due to have their hooves trimmed. I'm not gonna do it because the forecast says that by like Tuesday, it's supposed to be +2 all of a sudden. And so I am banking some tasks to do those on a warmer day because I take my gloves off. Within a few minutes, I am probably at risk for frostbite. And so I have to be careful about how much I expose my fingers when I'm doing some tasks that require less than bulky gloves. As well as with Ladybug's leg, some of you have noticed that she has not been wearing tape, and I think it's probably been 2 weeks. When I took it off last time, I noticed that there was starting to be a considerable amount of hair damage, and I wanted that hair to grow properly on her leg. Yes, part of it was I took it off. I intended to give her 2 or 3 days for that leg to breathe and maybe that hair to fluff up a little bit, and it's turned into a week, turned into 2. And that is on me. That's my fault. It probably should be more on the ball with getting her leg taped, but that is just how life has been the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks have been absolutely insane in my life. And so there are some seemingly less important things that do go by the wayside. That does not mean that the horses do not get fed. That is a non-negotiable. That happens every single day, at least twice, sometimes 3 times, as well as the goats. Everybody gets checked at least twice a day. But there's some of the extra little things, right? Like bandaging up Grace's hoof to help that abscess to drain. Right now, I'm going to leave it until warmer weather because it is actually more risky for her to have that bandage be balling up and chafing on her ankle. So it's something that I'm deciding. I'm pushing that off to do it later. Hoof trimming all of the goats. They can wait 3 more days. It's not going to hurt them. Wintertime is kind of beautiful in that sense where hoof growth actually slows down for horses and goats alike. And so that's not quite as like, I gotta get them done every 6 to 8 weeks. It can go maybe 9 weeks. But I'm not going to leave them and not trim them all winter long because that would be neglectful on my part. But there are some jobs that can just wait until the weather warms up just a smidge. I hope you've been enjoying just this kind of video. I try to do the least amount of editing as possible with no music, just to kind of show you the way that it is. Because doing chores doesn't come with cutesy music to make it feel so cute and feel so pretty or all of those different things. I know that it would be fun to have something movie-like, but this is real life. And so once in a while, I want to give you just a straight up, good old-fashioned, raw, this is the way that it is. I'm not here to try to hide stuff, as many of you guys know that already. Some people may come after me and go, oh my goodness, your horses are so covered in snow. And like I mentioned before, my tolerance is at about a 0 for that because they are designed and built for this weather. I did not take them from a heated barn and go, here, enjoy some -20 with them having no time to prepare for it. They have been preparing for winter for several weeks. As soon as that temperature started dropping, they started growing in a thicker, warm winter coat specifically for this. They have been born and raised in this area. It's not like I'm taking a horse from the desert and going, here, let's see how you do in a northern climate. I watch each animal individually. How are they responding and reacting? And then I can honestly say, Charlie is doing great. He's got extra body fat. Grace is doing well. Jezzy is the one that I am watching. She's right here. She's thinner skinned, finer haired. For some reason, she's just not as fluffy as the rest of them, which has caused her to maybe lose a bit of weight. And so that's one that I'm going to be watching very closely. And so if we get a day where there is driving winds, she may be one that needs a blanket. But I know that there can also be more harm done than good by blanketing a horse. And that's something that maybe people who don't own horses don't understand. And Dottie over here, she's doing totally fine. And then on my right, we've got Breeze. And behind her is Duke and then Raven as well. And same thing, like they're doing okay. I haven't seen them shivering at all. And again, they've been raised in this northern climate. Raven actually was in Alaska for the longest time, which is even harsher weather than here's at times. And of course, Ladybug and Jitterbug get the most special treatment. Make sure they have their shelter. They get 24/7 food to keep that internal fire burning, to keep them warm through these cold days. As always, thank you so much for watching. Consider giving a thumbs up, subscribing, or dropping a comment. I will see you guys down the road.
Reindeer with Santa in this sled. Aw.